Oh, I want to talk about the English airgun license. So, if you've not already heard, there is now talks about licensing airguns, that is sub 12 foot pound airguns, in England and Wales. Now, I've not really looked into the matter that much for several reasons. One, I'm Scottish, not English, I'm in Scotland, and I like to say it won't affect me, but I absolutely hate those words because it affects everyone. But I've already been punished by the Scottish airgun licence, if you will. Spoke about that plenty of times. But I'm just going to go over my understanding of the airgun licence proposal, if it even is a proposal. I'm not entirely sure. I've not looked at it in a while. Not really been following the gun scene recently, but I believe that a few weeks ago there was discussions on licensing sub 12 foot pound air rifles in England and Wales. I can only assume that's going to be a very similar system as to what we have here in Scotland with the air rifles and air pistols. Now, I do have some important points to make. If you think that this isn't going to happen in England and Wales, if you think the government's not going to do it, they're not that stupid, blah 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 blah, you're wrong. They're going to do it. Air guns in England and Wales will be licensed. Now, before anyone gets angry, I don't want that to happen. I'm very much against that. This is just my opinion, but I'm pretty sure this will happen because it did happen in Scotland, even though various organisations, I'll get to that in a minute, campaigned against the airgun licence. The organisations in question is Firearms UK. They're probably one of the biggest shooting organisations in the UK. It's certainly my personal favourite organisation. And Basque, although in my own opinion, Firearms UK did do a lot more work. If you're not aware, Firearms UK was actually founded to counter the Scottish airgun licence. It was started, I believe, by David Ewan to protest the Scottish airgun licence. Now, he himself actually isn't even an airgun user. He's got a shotgun certificate, and I believe he now has a firearm certificate. He doesn't actually shoot airguns, so he did it to protect the rest of us, which is quite a good thing to do. He started up a petition called No to Airguns Licensing in Scotland, and that petition, I think it received around 22,000 signatures. Basically, most people didn't want airguns to be licensed. Now, for some reason, some people who had airguns wanted them to be licensed, which to me is just very strange. But a lot of people were punished because of this licensing, and one of them, I didn't want a license because, to me, this is just wrong, making me pay for my own property. Airguns already do cost a lot of money, and to make me pay another 50, 60, £70 for a license is disgusting. I mean, I've done nothing wrong. I shouldn't have to pay for this. You know, I'm not some idiot who's shooting little boys out the window, but that doesn't matter right now. The point is, even though we campaigned for over 4 years against the Scottish airgun licence, it still happened, and I think it was last year or the year before, it became mandatory that you had to have a licence. Now, if you didn't get that licence, or you didn't hand in your guns to the police or sell them to someone who could lawfully own them, or someone who was intending on getting a licence, or whatever the case may be, you could receive 2 years in prison and or a fine. I can't actually remember what the fine was, but you could receive 2 years in prison for keeping hold of your airguns unlawfully. Now, let's look at some numbers here. There was, in 2012, which was 6 years ago, an estimated 500,000 airguns, 500,000 airguns in circulation in Scotland. Now, of that 500,000, just under 30,000 was accounted for. There was a certain amount handed in to the police, and a certain amount licensed, and probably a number given to people or sold to people across the border in England or Wales. of course, all this is completely lawful. Me myself, I sold mine at auction for half their worth, which is obviously quite infuriating, and I didn't want to sell them anyway. But it doesn't matter right now. But that means there's still 470,000 unaccounted for air guns in Scotland. Now, please bearing in mind, that was the estimated figure in 2012. This is now 2018. This became mandatory in 2017, so that's about a 5-year difference. So we can assume that there's been a lot more air guns, lawfully purchased between 2012 and 2017. I mean, I remember just before the deadline, I was in my local gun shop and people were still buying air rifles. And even now, a lot of people still have air guns illegally. I've seen it on Facebook. I mean, I assume they've got them illegally because they're selling them and they're not, saying license required, as they obviously should. I say they should. I mean, by law they should. I personally don't agree with it. So, where are these 470,000 air guns? They're completely unaccounted for, and they are still being used in crime. Now, airgun crime really isn't a big problem, not as much as the officials would like you to believe. But even after a month or so after that date, there was still crime being committed with airguns. I remember I think it was about a week after the deadline, someone was arrested for unlawful possession of an airgun and about £20,000 worth of drugs. The thing that I find strange about that is they were making more of a fuss over the air rifle than with the drugs. The thing is, the air rifle was legal a week before that, yet the drugs were illegal. I don't actually know when they banned these drugs, but let's just say over 70 years anyway. You know what I mean? There was another one where I think it was about a month after the deadline, someone shot a cat in Ayrshire. A month after. So, of course, the criminals don't care. Now, bearing in mind that 500,000 estimate, and again, that's only from 2012, the population of Scotland was, or is, around 7 million, I believe. That's about the population of London alone, never mind the entirety of England and Wales. So, of course, the number of air guns in private hands in England and Wales is going to be far higher than the estimated from Scotland. And bearing in mind the estimate from Scotland is probably an underestimate, so we're probably looking at 2, 3, 4 million air guns in England and Wales. How are you going to deal with that? I'd also like to point out that after the Firearms Act 1996 and 1997 banning handguns 20 years ago, even now, we still have crime involving handguns, so please keep that in mind if you are in support of any new firearms legislation. If you're not aware, I should add that under UK law, air guns are actually classed as firearms. I probably should state that the guns in front of you, these are completely lawful for me to own. This is a airsoft gun and this is a blank firer. They do have the stupid orange colours, but I find that annoying, so that's why I've got them positioned in such a way. These are completely legal. These cartridges are, they're real cartridges, but they're spent. You can't fire them. I just felt like that was important to point out. But back to the topic at hand. It failed in Scotland, and it's caused the police a lot of problem. Well, it's caused the public a lot of problems. I mean, I think even now there's some people still haven't received their certificates that they should have received back in 2016. Now, I could be wrong about that, but I remember even in early 2017, after it had passed, people still didn't have their certificates, even though they applied as early as they could. So those people are potentially, criminals, even though they tried to follow the law. Now, what they were supposed to have done is hand their air guns in to a dealer for storage or give it to a friend with a license or a firearm certificate. but I think a lot of people probably got caught out. And bear in mind, a lot of people had air guns that they didn't know that they had. Say they had an air rifle in their attic that their granddad left there, or in the shed, or, you know, the garage. It happens. Even occasionally, some people might find their granddad's service rifle in the attic. Just bear that in mind, that licenses like these cause innocent, unknowing people to be prosecuted. And before you say, well, those people will get off, well, actually, no. Again, my local firearms dealer, registered firearms dealer, of course, said that what do you call them? The firearms department stated that even if they did not know that they had the air gun, they'd still be prosecuted the exact same. So if you have an air gun in your attic that you are unaware of, and you discover it, you could still be prosecuted even though you did not know that was there. This is another problem with this license. Bearing in mind, most people with air guns are good people. They're not, chavs running around in hoodies with, a joint in their mouth with a bottle of bucky. Most air gun users aren't like that, although there are plenty that are. A lot of us are just people who just want to, pop cans in the back garden or shoot paper targets. Do pest control, the service for landowners, get a rabbit for the pot, pigeon, whatever. Most people aren't shooting little boys in the head. They're not shooting your neighbour's cat or anything like that. It's just wrong in my opinion, because people are, air guns aren't cheap. Some of them can be. You can get an air rifle for around 50 quid for a new one. But at the high end, you could be talking thousands. Now, if you've got an air rifle worth thousands and they refuse a license, you will then be required to sell that. If you can't sell that gun, well, guess what? You're a criminal and you have lost a lot of money. And even if you can sell it, you'll probably have to sell it at a very discounted price, because there'll be a lot of people trying to do that. That was a problem I had when I tried to sell my guns. I had 18 guns. I wanted to sell them to my local dealer, and he said, look, I can't, because so many other people are doing the same thing. And like I said, I only got half the original value for my air guns at auction. Some of them sold for next to nothing. And one thing that the Scottish Government tried to push was most of these air guns were unwanted in someone's attics. Well, no, you're wrong. Most of these air guns were, I used all of mine. I had mine for multiple reasons. I like to collect them. I like to shoot them. To me, they were, a display piece, something for the cabinet, that sort of thing. So there's so many problems with this licensing. Not to mention the effects on business. Obviously, it's going to have an effect on firearms dealers, an effect on clubs. This is just going to mean that the prices to attend a gun club is going to go up, making the sport of shooting more inaccessible for good people who just want to enjoy the sport. Although a lot of people do just like to plink in the back garden in a safe and responsible manner, of course. Now, before I end this video, I'd like to direct you to Firearms UK. Like I said, Firearms UK started up the No to Air Gun Licence in Scotland campaign. At the same time, they also made No to Air Guns licensing in England and Wales. All those things have pages on Facebook. No to Air Guns licensing in Scotland, Firearms UK, and No to Air Gun licensing in England and Wales are all their separate pages on Facebook. They're all still there, but Firearms UK is the most active. Of course, Firearms UK runs both No to Air Gun licensing in Scotland and No to Air Gun licensing in England and Wales. They're also on Twitter, Instagram, and probably several other pieces of social media. You can also visit Firearms UK at their website at firearms.org. Of course, they are a pro-gun organisation. They are trying to promote the safe and responsible shooting for everyone in the UK, and they also do advocate somewhat for self-defence, although of course they're not advocating giving every Tom, Dick and Harry a firearm to carry them in the street with them. They're they're wanting sensible discussions on firearms ownership, which of course I very much support. And it might also, if you don't already, have a look at BASC, that's the British Association for Shooting and Conservation. They could also be found on Facebook and at their website. I can't quite remember what the name of the website is, unfortunately, but just type in BASC and you'll find it, no bother. Okay, well, thank you for listening. Hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully you'll learn a thing or two. But yeah, thank you for watching and goodbye.